Travis has always been someone who pours his entire soul into what he does. Football, for him, has never been just a job or a career choice. It has been a discipline, a calling, a lifestyle built on routine, sacrifice, and relentless effort. That same intensity, that same focus, quietly mirrors the way Taylor approaches her own work, and it's one of the strongest invisible threads connecting them. They didn't fall for each other because of fame or status or public fascination. They connected because they recognized something familiar in one another, a deep respect for the grind, for preparation, for showing up even when the body is tired and the mind is stretched thin. Taylor has spoken about how Travis never once resents her success or feels overshadowed by it, and that alone says more than any public statement ever could. In a world where success often creates imbalance, insecurity, or competition, their relationship seems to operate on a different frequency. Travis doesn't see Taylor's achievements as something to compete with or tolerate. He sees them as something to admire. He understands that her success didn't come easily, and he knows the cost of staying at the top. There's no jealousy in that understanding, only pride. That shared awareness may be the quiet foundation beneath their peace. They understand pressure in a way most people never will. They understand scrutiny because they live under it constantly. Every performance, every appearance, every decision is examined, dissected, and debated by millions of people who don't know them personally. They understand exhaustion not just physically, but emotionally. The kind that comes from always being on, always being expected to deliver excellence. And they understand the rare highs too, the moments when everything clicks and the work pays off in ways that feel almost surreal. Because they both live in those extremes, they don't minimize each other's experiences. Travis doesn't dismiss the intensity of Taylor's touring schedule, and Taylor doesn't downplay the physical and mental toll of professional football. They don't reduce each other's struggles to stereotypes. Instead, they see each other as equals, navigating different versions of the same mountain. Travis once said that even though Taylor may not consider herself an athlete, he absolutely does. Watching her prepare for performances changed the way he viewed what she does. He talked about seeing the discipline behind the scenes, the rehearsals, the conditioning, the way she pushes her body night after night without cutting corners. He spent his life around elite athletes, people who dedicate everything to performance. And he said without hesitation that Taylor's work ethic belongs in that same category. Coming from someone who understands physical training at the highest level, that acknowledgement carries a depth that goes far beyond compliment. He's watched her give everything she has to her fans, even on nights when it would be easier to pull back. He's seen the commitment, the consistency, the refusal to do things halfway. That kind of respect changes how two people relate to each other. When admiration runs that deep, there's no room for dismissiveness. There's no space for belittling or ego battles. And when respect is that mutual, arguments don't disappear entirely, but they lose their power to escalate. Conflict thrives on misunderstanding, on feeling unseen or unheard. But when two people genuinely understand the weight each other carries, they approach tension differently. They don't rush to defend themselves. They listen, they clarify, they assume good intent. That's the kind of dynamic that creates calm, not because life is perfect, but because the relationship itself is stable. As Travis and Taylor move closer to their wedding day, the details that have quietly emerged reflect that same alignment. Travis has described the planning process as fun, but also unexpectedly emotional. Not stressful in a negative way, but emotional in a reflective way. Friends close to him say he's been more involved than anyone anticipated, deeply invested in the meaning behind the moments rather than the spectacle. He's not focused on impressing anyone or creating a viral moment. He's focused on authenticity. He's talked about wanting their vows to reflect who they really are, not just as individuals, but as a couple. He wants them to include the inside jokes, the shared memories, the things that make sense only to them. Those private references, those quiet smiles exchanged during the ceremony, matter more to him than any grand statement. He's expressed a desire for the reception to feel warm and familiar, like a large family gathering rather than a formal event. Something intimate, something grounded. What stands out most is how often he talks about wanting to protect the emotional core of the day. He knows the world will see photos. He knows the headlines will come. But he wants the memories to belong to them first. He wants the night to be something they carry quietly, something that remains untouched by public opinion. That instinct speaks volumes about how he views their relationship. It's not something to be consumed, it's something to be lived. He's admitted to feeling nervous, but in a way that feels healthy and sincere. Nervous because it matters deeply, excited in a way that feels almost overwhelming at times, grateful in a way that seems to ground him. Those emotions don't come from pressure, they come from care, from knowing you're about to step into something permanent and meaningful. Throughout all of it, Travis keeps returning to the same words when he talks about Taylor, peace, calm, respect. Those words surface again and again, unprompted, as if they're the most accurate way he knows to describe how she fits into his life. And when he was asked whether they ever fight, his response came immediately. No hesitation, no careful phrasing. Just a simple, honest answer. Never once. That answer surprised people, not because it sounded rehearsed, but because it sounded genuine. In a culture that often romanticizes chaos, where passion is mistaken for volatility, the idea of a relationship without constant conflict can feel unrealistic. But maybe the absence of fighting isn't about avoidance. Maybe it's about intention. Maybe it's about two people who genuinely don't want to hurt each other. When you're deeply committed to someone, disagreements don't turn into power struggles. They turn into conversations. You don't argue to win. You talk to understand. Misunderstandings don't become accusations. They become moments of clarification. That doesn't mean there's never tension. It means tension is handled with care. Travis hasn't been sharing these insights to craft an image. He's been sharing them because they explain something important about how Taylor fits into his life. Amid football seasons, travel, public appearances, and nonstop attention, she represents calm. She's the place where the noise fades. She's where he can just exist without performance. She's his safe place, his anchor, the person who brings him back to center when everything else feels chaotic. And Taylor feels the same way. That's why their dynamic will be visible in her upcoming docuseries, End of an Era 6, releasing on Disney Plus on December 12th. Travis appears throughout the series, and those involved have described his presence as a source of genuine happiness. Not staged, not exaggerated, just real. Viewers won't see flashy declarations or dramatic moments designed for effect. Instead, they'll see quiet trust, comfort, the ease that comes when two people feel secure with each other. The series offers glimpses into how they support each other without needing to announce it, how they exist side by side without tension, how their relationship remains steady even as everything around them moves at an overwhelming pace. It's not about proving love, it's about living it. And that's perhaps the most telling thing of all. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift aren't trying to convince anyone of anything. They're not trying to perform a perfect relationship. They're not chasing validation. They're simply building a life together in a way that feels honest and sustainable. When you know you've found your person, you stop keeping score. You stop measuring effort. You stop tracking who gave more or who sacrificed last. You shift into building mode. You think about the long term. You think about how to create something steady, something supportive, something that feels like home. With a wedding approaching, families blending, careers continuing to thrive, and love feeling unexpectedly calm, it's easy to understand why Travis walks around saying he has no complaints. There's a quiet confidence in the way he speaks now, a grounded contentment that comes from knowing he's exactly where he belongs. And when your partner isn't just someone you love, but someone who understands you, respects you, and brings peace into your life, that calm becomes the greatest success of all.